Have you ever found yourself, caught in that loop? You set this big goal, maybe it's hitting the gym regularly or finally learning that new language, and for a few days you're totally killing it.
Yeah, happens all the time.
Then, almost like without you even noticing, the motivation just fades and you're right back where you started. Or maybe even stuck in some old routine you really want to break.
Absolutely. If that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone.
So today we're doing a deep dive into James Clear's Atomic Habits. This book has, well, it's really changed how millions think about personal change.
It really has. It's kind of everywhere now.
Our mission today, let's pull out the biggest insights, get into the psychology behind why it's so popular, and figure out how you can actually use its ideas to build the life you want, one tiny step at a time.
It's actually quite amazing how Atomic Habits took off, isn't it? In popular culture, even in academic circles.
Yeah.
And I think its popularity comes down to something fundamental. Habits.
Well, they're like the silent architects of our lives, right?
Silent architects. I like that. They're not just these isolated little actions. It's about the consistent, often kind of invisible choices that just compound day after day. They shape who we are, what we achieve, our whole destiny, really.
And James Clear himself, he's not just another self-help guy.
No, not at all. He's genuinely an expert in the behavioral science side of things. Habits, decision-making, continuous improvement. His real genius, I think, is taking all this complex research.
Yeah, the heavy stuff.
Exactly. And boiling it down into a framework that's not just easy to grasp, but something you can actually do. He really pushes us to see that big change isn't usually about these huge, earth-shattering moments.
Right, not the overnight success story.
No, it's about the aggregation of marginal gains.
Yeah.
Tiny improvements adding up.
And that idea, aggregation of marginal gains, that really leads us straight to the book's core promise, doesn't it? Tiny changes, remarkable results.
That's the hook.
It is, but for a lot of people, that might still feel a bit too simple. Like, what's the biggest misunderstanding you think people have when they hear that? Thinking, oh, that can't possibly work.
That's a great point, because it does sound almost too good to be true. The biggest misconception is probably thinking those tiny changes add up in a straight line, linearly.
Okay, like 1 + 1 + 1.
Exactly. But what Clear really emphasizes is the compounding effect of habits. We hear about compound interest with money all the time, right?
Sure.
His insight is showing how that same principle, which we often ignore in daily life because it seems so small, is actually this incredibly powerful force for personal growth. Improving by just 1% each day, it doesn't just add up.
It multiplies.
It multiplies. Over a year, you end up, almost 37 times better? And the reverse is just as scary. A 1% decline each day can really tank things.
Wow.
What's really counterintuitive, I think, isn't just the math. Is how our brains are kind of wired to ignore these small wins. We want the big leap.
You want instant results.
We do. So the real power is in that almost invisible consistency. Realizing that psychological blind spot and, actively working with it. Those little choices, pick up the book for 1 page or scroll social media for 2 minutes, they really do multiply. They're the atoms of who you become.
So it's all about making those consistent, tiny nudges. But okay, anyone who's ever tried starting a new habit knows the real struggle is going from knowing this to actually doing it. How does Clear give us a practical way to make those atomic choices stick?
Right, the how-to. That's precisely where his 4 laws of behavior change are so brilliant. They're not just theory. They're like a practical toolkit, a step-by-step guide for engineering your habits, the good ones and the bad ones.
Okay, let's break them down. Law number 1, make it obvious. Our environment is always throwing cues at us. How do we use that strategically? What's the common mistake Clear helps us avoid here?
A big mistake is just assuming we'll remember. Oh yeah, I'll do that later. Clear points out our environment is packed with triggers for our habits, often stuff we don't even consciously notice. So to build a good habit, you have to make the cue for it super visible, unmissable, almost impossible to ignore.
Give me an example.
Like, if you want to remember your daily vitamin, don't stash the bottle away in a cupboard. Put it right next to your coffee machine or your toothbrush, something you already use every single day.
Makes sense.
Or if you want to practice guitar more, don't keep it in its case under the bed. Leave it out on a stand in the living room. Visible. Another really useful strategy he talks about is habit stacking.
Habit stacking, okay.
You pair a new habit. You want to start with one you already do automatically. Like, after I pour my morning coffee existing habit, I will meditate for 1 minute new habit. The coffee becomes the obvious cue. It's like leaving little reminders for your future self.
So you're basically engineering your environment to take the mental effort out of remembering. That sounds huge for consistency.
Hmm.
Okay, law two, make it attractive. Even if it's obvious, sometimes we just don't feel like it. How do we make those less fun tasks more appealing?
Yeah, this law taps right into our basic desire for pleasure. We're just way more likely to do things that feel good or seem attractive. Claire's got this great technique called temptation bundling.
Temptation bundling. Sounds interesting.
It is. You link an action you want to do with an action you need to do. So maybe you love listening to a certain podcast or watching a specific show,
Guilty.
right? So you only let yourself indulge while you're on the treadmill or maybe while folding laundry. Suddenly, that chore becomes the gateway to something you enjoy.
Ah, okay, I see. Sneaky.
It works. Another big piece of this, often overlooked, is our social environment. Who you hang out with matters. Want to study more? Join a study group. Want to eat healthier? Spend time with people who already do. We're social animals. We naturally copy the habits around us. Making good habits the norm in your circle makes them way more attractive.
Right. Leveraging our natural tendencies and social side. Okay, law three, make it easy. So we've made it obvious, made it attractive, but sometimes the sheer effort just feels like too much. What's Claire's advice for when a habit feels overwhelming?
This one's all about reducing friction. Simple concept, huge impact. The less effort a habit takes, the more likely you are to actually do it.
Less friction.
Exactly. Want to go for a run in the morning? Don't wait till morning to find everything. Lay out your running clothes the night before. Put your shoes right by the door.
Removes those little barriers.
Precisely. Want to eat healthier? Prep your veggies on Sunday. Chop them up so making a salad during the week is quick and easy. And then there's the 2-minute rule.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this one.
It's incredibly effective. When you start a new habit, make it take less than 2 minutes. Want to read more? Just read one page or even one sentence to start.
Seriously? That small?
Yes. Want to go for a run? Just put on your running shoes. The point isn't to hit your big goal in 2 minutes. It's just to get started. To make the act of starting so easy that saying no feels harder than just doing it.
That's brilliant, just overcoming that initial inertia. Okay, final law, number four. Make it satisfying. We did the thing. But if there's no immediate reward, it's tough to keep going. How do we hack our brains for that instant gratification hit?
You nailed it. Our brains crave immediate rewards. But the problem with most good habits getting fit, learning a skill, is the real payoff is way down the road.
Yeah, it takes time.
So Clear says we need to find ways to make finishing the habit feel good right now. Habit trackers are great for this. Just making that X on a calendar after you do your habit, that visual progress can be surprisingly satisfying.
Seeing the chain grow.
Exactly. It's a small, immediate win. Another trick is to give yourself a small, immediate reward that actually lines up with your bigger goals, or at least doesn't sabotage them. Like finish your workout, then immediately enjoy that healthy smoothie you really like. The key is closing that feedback loop fast. Make the good feeling happen right after the action.
Okay, so we've got this fantastic practical toolkit for building habits. But Clear pushes it further, doesn't he? He asks us to think about not just what we do, but who we become. That feels like a deeper shift. What exactly are identity-based habits? Why are they supposedly so much stronger than just aiming for results?
This, for me, is where the book gets really profound. It moves beyond just tips and tricks. See, most of us focus on outcomes. I want to lose 10 pounds. That's outcome-based.
Right.
Or we focus on the process. I need to exercise 3 times a week. Process-based. But Clear argues the deepest, most lasting change comes from focusing on identity. Who do you want to be?
So instead of I want to run a marathon.
It's I am a runner. Instead of I want to read more books, it's I am a reader. When your habits line up with the identity you want, doing the habit isn't just a task. It's like casting a vote for the type of person you want to be.
Ah, okay. Every action reinforces that identity.
Exactly. It shifts from willpower, which is finite, to reinforcing your self-image. The habits stick better because they feel like part of who you are. It's a really powerful psychological lever.
That makes so much sense. It turns every small win into proof of your identity. Now, speaking of environments, we often think they're just neutral backgrounds. But Clear says, no, they're actively shaping us, right? Like invisible architects.
Totally. And what's wild is how much our surroundings influence us without us even realizing it. Our environment is just loaded with these subtle cues and triggers.
Like what?
Well, think about your kitchen counter. If it's always covered in cookies and chips, you're way more likely to grab them, right?
Guilty again.
Or if your desk is always a disaster zone, you might feel less focused even before you sit down. Clear gives loads of examples. Just moving the fruit bowl to the center of the counter. Fruit consumption goes way up.
So simple. Or arranging your living room so the comfy reading chair is more prominent than the TV remote. You might find yourself reading more. Even just keeping a filled water bottle on your desk makes you drink more water. We're just incredibly sensitive to our context. By consciously designing our spaces, we can make good habits feel automatic and bad habits almost impossible.
It's about making the right choice the easy choice.
Precisely. Make the path of least resistance lead to good habits.
Okay, so if we can build good habits using these 4 laws, obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying, can we just flip the script to break bad ones?
Mm.
How do we reverse that blueprint? What are some practical tricks?
Absolutely. The framework works perfectly in reverse. To break a bad habit, you just invert the laws.
Okay, law 1 reversed.
Make it invisible. If you waste too much time on social media apps, delete them or bury them deep in a folder. Put your phone in another room when you need to focus. Make the cue for the bad habit hard to even see. Out of sight, out of mind really works.
Got it. Law 2 reversed. Make it unattractive. You need to reframe how you think about it. Instead of thinking smoking helps me relax, consciously focus on smoking makes my clothes smell, costs a fortune, and is wrecking my health.
Yeah.
Really highlight the downsides. Make the idea of the habit itself disgusting or unappealing.
Okay. Law 3.
Make it difficult. Increase the friction. Add steps. Want to watch less TV? Don't just turn it off. Unplug it. Hide the remote in a drawer after every use. Want to stop impulse online shopping? Remove your saved credit card info from websites. Make it a real hassle to do the bad thing.
Add friction. Makes sense. And law 4.
Make it unsatisfying. You need some kind of immediate cost or discomfort. Maybe an accountability partner, like you give a friend $50, and they only give it back if you avoid the bad habit for a week. Or simply track the bad habit. Seeing the tally go up can feel surprisingly bad right away. The key is immediate negative feedback, not just some abstract future consequence.
It's like using your brain's wiring against itself for a good cause. One thing I really loved about the book was the stories. It's not just abstract advice. He shows people actually doing this stuff.
Yeah, the stories really bring it home. He talks about the British cycling team under Dave Brailsford, the aggregation of marginal gains guy.
Right, the 1% improvements.
Exactly. They improved everything by just 1%. The bike seats, the massage gel, even the pillows they slept on. And went from mediocre to dominating the Olympics and the Tour de France. It's incredible.
Wow.
And he talks about artists who succeed just by showing up consistently, day after day, even without inspiration, proving that disciplined effort beats sporadic genius. There are stories about businesses changing their whole culture with small tweaks, everyday people overcoming huge hurdles by building tiny compounding habits. These examples really show the ideas work everywhere, for everyone. Makes it feel real.
It definitely does. So let's step back. Looking at Atomic Habits overall, what are its biggest strengths? What makes it stand out in that crowded self-improvement space?
I'd say there are 3 main things. First, it's incredibly practical. It's just full of clear, actionable steps anyone can start using right away, no matter where they're starting from.
Very hands-on.
Very. Second, it's solidly science-based. He's drawing on real research from psychology, biology, neuroscience. It explains the why behind the methods, which gives it a lot of credibility.
Not just feel-good advice.
Right. And third, it's just remarkably easy to read. Clear has a real talent for taking complex ideas about behavior and making them super accessible and engaging without dumbing them down too much. It reaches a huge audience.
That sounds like a winning combo. But, for a balanced view, are there any downsides? Any potential weaknesses someone might find if they look closely? No book is perfect, right?
That's fair.
Yeah.
And yet, while it's overwhelmingly great, you could point to a couple of things. Some people might find it a little repetitive in places.
Okay.
Clear does reinforce the key ideas by coming back to them with different examples, which is good for learning, but sometimes you might feel like, okay, I got this point already.
Right. A bit of deja vu.
Maybe a little. Also, you could argue some concepts are simplified quite a bit to make them easy for everyone to understand, which is mostly a strength. But maybe someone looking for a super deep academic dive into behavioral science might find it streamlines things a bit much. But honestly, these are pretty minor points compared to its overall value.
So a really powerful, practical guide, maybe with a couple of small quirks. Okay, final verdict time. For our listener who's trying to navigate all this self-improvement stuff, who really needs to read Atomic Habits, and what's the single most important thing they should take away?
My final take. Atomic Habits is pretty much essential reading for anyone serious about making real lasting changes, whether that's learning a skill, improving your health, being more productive, or just understanding yourself better. It's especially good, I think, for people who've tried and failed with willpower alone.
Because it shifts the focus.
Exactly. It shifts focus from just trying harder to smartly designing your systems in your environment. But the most crucial message, the real takeaway, isn't just to read it, it's to apply it.
Don't let it become shelf help.
Precisely. Don't just absorb the information. Pick one small thing, one tiny atomic habit from the book, and actually start doing it today. The real magic is in the action, not just the reading.
And as you think about that one small change, maybe consider not just what habit you want to build, but what kind of person that habit will help you become. What identity are you building? One tiny action, one small vote at a time. That's our deep dive into atomic habits. Until next time, keep making those small steps count.